It's time to do the front rebuild or service for this slant back Humvee REV unit. Took this thing apart, new seals, painted it a satin instead of the flat, and it's a little shiny. I used a little too much hardener, but it'll dull out. This is the same paint. This one's already dulled a little bit. Painted that a couple days before. But now it's time to reassemble everything. Start putting all these brackets back on. And I just painted the heads. Most of this is going to come off when I tighten it on. But the next step is to clean these threads, make sure they're nice and clean. And the same thing with these. I gotta clean those up. So when I do the Loctite, everything's clean, degreased, and ready to go. I've also painted these flange mounts, whatever they're called. These are for the REV units. They have the smaller diameter. And you usually don't paint the surfaces because the axle rides on here, and if you start putting paint, and it takes up, makes a thickness. So when you put a painted surface mating with another piece of steel, and then you torque it, tighten it, with time it's gonna wear out that paint. That paint's gonna get wore out and it's gonna come off. And then now you've got that thin film of where the paint used to be, and the torque is going to be less, and this thing gets loose. So that's why you don't paint mating flanges. And the same thing with these ball joints. These are painted, so I'm going to get a razor blade and clean this up. It's easy just to clean it up and then to put tape and spend a whole bunch of time on this. But I need to remove the paint off these flat surfaces, and then also where the ball joints, U-joints will fit. Okay, so to get these on, I put Loctite on them, the red stuff. Then I do it by hand. The problem is when you start tightening this, it spins around. You can't, it's hard to control it. So I just put the same bolt that goes in here for the CVs. I just put one between these two, and it locks it. Then I'll tighten it by hand, get it reasonable, make sure the threads are all in, a couple turns, make sure it's on straight. Then I'll bust out the impact, and I'll tighten it, but not get too crazy. And then I'll get the torque wrench out and torque it down. So these are the bolts for the CV axles that go on this flange. So before I put the CVs on, they're pretty important. If they come apart while you're driving, it's a mess. So I run a tap through them, clean them, get brake cleaner, just kind of go through the threads, get any grease or grime out of it. Same with the bolts. Just clean them up before you do the red Loctite. So I've started the chassis cleanup process. The axles, CV axles, just hanging here. So everything's pretty clean. 1,200 miles on this car. So it's kind of hard to see, but let me back out a little bit. So the brake calipers are going to connect. One here, two here. And the bar comes underneath. 1, 2 on the front side, and the back side has a plate that connects to the back side here, and there's bolts that hold it, that attach it. It's kind of hard to see because it's so close. So now it's time to get this diff up into its place, and I'm just going to use a regular floor jack and just muscle it in. So you got to just wiggle it in, get the, I guess, the rear portion up high, kind of feed it in, and you can see it's bumping up against here. So I got to move it forward a little bit, and just be patient. Just take some time and wiggle it in. Once it's at an angle like this, so I've got to go a little higher so I can clear the back, and then I got to start rotating it. So as I lift the floor jack, I got to just twist it. It'd be a lot easier if there's two of us, but I'm a shade tree mechanic. I do it on my own most of the time. So I've got it in place, kind of close. Got the two bolts kind of loose on both sides, just to prevent it from dropping and whacking me in the head. So now it's time to do the rear bracket, which is this guy. And you gotta wiggle it over. Get that out of the way. It's a little tricky, but you gotta just wiggle this in through here. It's gotta go over it and then mount to 2 bolts. A two-handed operation. So it's in. Now I've just got to align it, put the bolts through, and start tightening all 4 of them. There's 6 bolts now to mount the front diff to the chassis. You've got 1, 2 on the lower bracket, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the upper. And then we've got 5 and 6, and that will fasten it to the chassis. So now I've cleaned up the universal joints just with the Scotch-Brite on both sides, and it's just a matter of aligning it up and inserting it in. I've got to pull it with 2 hands because I have it compressed all the way in, so I can't pull it back out with 1 hand. So I'll be back shortly. So I've got it in place. I got to put the straps on, clean those up, and put the straps on, and then also tighten both these bolts and nuts in place. And then I got to grease them one more time, grease the U-joint, and we're done with this section. Then I've still got CVs to do. So I've cleaned up all these bolts with thread tap and die to clean them up. I'm going to spray them with brake cleaner and then insert them with red Loctite. So we're getting close. All these are tightened. 2, 3, 4, and the 2 over here. Got the U-joint tightened, torqued. Got these 2 guys done. That's the drive shaft all the way up to the CV axle. So the CV axle is next. I'm just gonna clean this surface one more time, get it nice and clean with not a wire wheel because I've done that already. Just Scotch-Brite, just clean it up, make sure there's nothing on the surface. Bolts are clean already and brake cleaned and ready to do the red Loctite, and that's pretty close. So you got to have the wheels off so that you can rotate to get them to fit, because if you have your tires on, it's just going to make it very difficult. So we're getting close. Once I'm done, then I'll come back in and just do a touch up with black. It's little details, just touch it up so that it'll end up looking like that. Everything's painted, so for years to come, I don't have to fiddle around, and it looks brand new again. It's the details, and nobody gets underneath, but I do. Okay, so the rotors are in, axles are in, CVs are in. I've got 2 bolts, no Loctite, just temporary, leaving them loose just so that this thing doesn't fall on my head. The next thing to do, I want it loose, so the next thing to do is to insert the Woolworth calipers, and it's a little tricky to get them in, but that's the next thing, is get the Woolworths in, and then I can go in and finish these with Loctite. Both sides. So I've started wiggling these calipers in. A little tricky because there's not much room here on both of them. On the driver's side, I had to take the axle off and then put the rotor and the caliper together because they were hitting up here on the lower control arm mount. But passenger side was easy, it came in quick. So now I've got to tighten the calipers to kind of lock the rotors in, and then put the CV on the driver's side. So these are the CV axles mounting bolts. They're metric, and the lock washers. So it's recommended to replace them and not just reuse them. But I'm going to add red Loctite as well. Okay, so I've got calipers mounted. It's kind of hard to get in here, but one bolt rather. Try and get this camera. The other one's right up here, 2. So it's tight. The other caliper, you can see it's still loose. I'm trying to get my hand in here, right there. And the other one is at the top here. Kind of hard to see, but it's back there. So this is still loose, still wobbly. And this one's tight. So the gap here is great. You could see they don't need to be shimmed. The space between this side and that side is good. So this rotor turns as it should, with the gap on both sides. Now to check the underneath, we'll do a quick spin here, and you can see it's good here too on both sides. So once you clamp, when you tighten these bolts on the calipers, you got to make sure that this thing is dead center, and when you're rotating it, nothing's rubbing. On this one, it's still loose, but we'll see if we can do a better picture. One here and the other one is at the top. So to do the brake job, to put the pads in, it's pretty easy. I'm just gonna spin around here. It's pretty easy. We'll do the easy side first. So here's a pad, you just slide it in. It's that easy, you just slide them in. 1, 2. And then you have your pin. I'll do this with the other hand. And you just slide it across. Well, it's easy with 2 hands. But you just slide this across, comes out on this side, and then you put a pin. There we go. Okay, it's in. So now we just got to put a pin to lock this shaft down right in here. There's a little, put a cotter pin, and it's done. That's the brake job. So we're done. Pads are in. Clip is in. Everything's tightened from underneath. Things painted, cleaned up. Where it was resting on the control arm, I'll paint that. Looks pretty good. Good for another 20 years. So last thing to do is to bleed it, and I'll do a separate video on that. 1,200 miles. I need to stop tinkering on this thing. Hopefully this helps.